Hey everybody, Miss Hattie coming to you from outside today because it is the most beautiful day ever. It's so sunny that I have to kind of hide in the corner of my patio because if I sit anywhere else in the yard, it's so bright you can't even see me. It is that pretty of a day. If you happen to watch this video on a day as gorgeous as this, stop immediately and go play outside. Do not waste your time with me on a day that's gorgeous. I'll see you some other time, okay? But if you look at the forecast for the rest of the week, tomorrow it's gonna rain. And the next day it's gonna rain and it's gonna rain and it's going to rain. Maybe they're wrong. Maybe they're wrong, but maybe not. But it got us to talking. I wonder how much rain that is. It seems like a lot. I wonder how much it's actually going to be. And today I'm going to show you how to make a tool that helps you measure the rain, in case you, like we, are wondering how much rain we're actually going to get in the next couple of days. So the tool that we're going to be making today is called a rain gauge, and you need about 5 supplies to make it. Okay. You can see I am not outside anymore, right? I had to quickly shift my position because there were so many people enjoying the beautiful weather. There were kids screaming and laughing and lawnmowers going and dogs barking, and it was wonderful, but you were never going to be able to hear me. So I quickly moved inside to make a rain gauge. So here we go. What you're going to need for your rain gauge is a plastic bottle. Any size will work. You could have a water bottle, you could have a big pop bottle. Mine is kind of in between, but if it was clear, that would be best with all the labels removed. So you're going to need some kind of plastic bottle. If you don't have a plastic bottle, I can show you an alternative at the end. No big deal. But to make the one that we're going to be doing in this video, you need a plastic bottle. Okay? And the first step is kind of a grown-up step because what you're going to need to do is cut the top off of it all the way around. And it's not like cutting through paper. This plastic is pretty firm. So your grown-up is going to have to at least start it for you. They might have to do the whole thing, but I want you to be safe, so they need to be around for this part. You're going to cut the top off of your bottle so that you have 2 pieces, the bottom and the top. Now if we take this top and we flip it over, does it remind you of anything we use in the science room to help us pour? A funnel, right? It's a funnel, and it's going to work exactly the same way in our rain gauge. So we're going to put it into the bottom upside down, and it's going to just help collect the water. It's going to help collect it and send it to the bottom of the bottle. The other thing it does is it makes your opening, you could put it out like this, and that would be your opening, but it makes your opening much smaller. And what that does is it prevents or slows down. It slows down the evaporation of the water from your bottle. So in those hot, sunny days, your water will turn into steam. The smaller opening will slow that down, okay? So it helps slow down evaporation. So that is why you kind of want the top of your bottle to act as that funnel. Now, we could stick it in there, and we could set it outside and be done. What do you think would happen to this rain gauge on the very first windy day? It would blow over immediately, right? And then you're not collecting anything, right? We need to find a way to make it heavier. And a really easy way to do that is to just throw something heavy at the bottom. And something I think you will all be able to easily find are rocks. You can easily find some rocks, okay? I have 2 big ones. I'm going to put them at the bottom of my bottle. And now I've made it much more stable. It might still blow over if the wind is strong enough, but it's going to make it harder to. Some people bury theirs underground. I don't think. What if you don't have a yard? What if you have to set it out on your balcony? This will work, okay? So just find some heavy rocks and put it in there. Now, by doing that, though, we've made a little bit of a problem, okay? Because these rocks are in there, you can't start measuring the water until it gets over those rocks. It'll mess up your numbers if you start measuring it down here at the bottom before it gets over those rocks. So what I've done here, maybe you noticed, is there's a black line around my bottle, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to find the top of your rock. This one is sticking. And you're going to draw a black line with a marker that doesn't come off in the water. So a Sharpie. You're going to find a Sharpie and you're going to draw a black line right over those rocks all the way around your bottle. That's where you're going to start recording the amount of rain. Once it gets to that, once you start seeing the water get over that black line, okay? That's where it begins. Because if you try measuring around the rocks, you're not getting an accurate number. Okay, so you're going to start at the black line. But the problem is, to start at the black line, you're either going to have to wait for the rain to get up there, or you could just add water. You could get the water to the black line. That could be your starting point. So what you could do is you could take water from your house and pour it all the way up to your line. And now you're already at the starting line, so any rain you get, you'll be able to start recording right away. Otherwise, you've got to wait for the rain to get all the way to the line before you can even begin counting. So it seems like a better idea to just take water from your kitchen, pour it to that black line, and then you're ready to set it outside. Okay? Makes sense so far? It's hard when we're not together. If you have a question, I'm sorry. Email me, maybe, okay? All right. It's heavy. We have our starting line. The water is to the line. We have our funnel ready to go. The last thing we're missing, though, is we don't have any way of knowing how much water we have, right? I mean, we could make an estimate like we have half a bottle of rainwater. That would be a lot of rain. I hope we don't get that much rain this summer. But maybe, we'll see. That's the whole point of making the rain gauge, right? So, but we need a way of recording it. So you're going to need a tool that we had just started using in science. Some of the older friends, we've used it a couple times, but for some of you, it was a brand new tool, the ruler, okay? This is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to use to figure out how much rain you're getting. You're going to use the ruler, okay? So what you're going to do, the ruler has two sides. You're going to decide if on this side it's in inches. See how the numbers are kind of further apart than on this side? So you can decide, am I going to measure the rain in inches, or am I going to measure the rain in, on my ruler, it's centimeters. We decided for centimeters at our house. You make your own choice, okay? And then you're going to have to mark it off on your bottle. So what you could do is you could take your ruler, you could line it up at the black line.Maybe somebody could hold it for you. And then you could take a marker and mark it off at every inch. I have it upside down now. Let's turn it off. Okay, so you could set it up, and then you could mark it off at every inch with using that same Sharpie. I find it very tricky to draw on a bottle. It's a curved surface. It's very smooth. I find it very hard. So what I did instead is I used duct tape. This is a tape that will not come off even if it gets wet, so it's perfect for a rain gauge. And I cut a long strip of it off, and then I lined it up with my ruler along the bottom. There we go. Sticking to my fingers. And I made my markings on that instead, because I was able to put it down on the table and make my markings. And then I can just stick it to my bottle instead of trying to draw numbers onto my bottle. You decide which way is easier for you, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to take, if you've done the tape, remember to line it up with your starting line. That's where we're going to start measuring. We're going to line it up and stick it on just like that. Okay, so the line is 0. That's where we're starting. And then here we have 1. I decided to do centimeters, so that's going to be 1 centimeter of water when it gets to there. 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters. Okay, so I'll be able to track how much water I get. Maybe you could do it every rainstorm, or maybe you want to do it over a week or a month. I mean, you get to make the decision how often you want to record the amount of rain. And every time you want to start over, remember that you have to pour the water out and then pour it back up to that line, your starting line, okay? Okay, so we have the starting line, we have our measuring, and then we're going to put the funnel back in, and I'm going to secure it into place with 2 more pieces of duct tape. I'm just going to tape it in there so that it stays in place. And then it's ready to go outdoors. Easy peasy, okay? So when you pick a spot to put it outdoors, make sure that it's out in the open so that the rain can get to it. If it's under a tree, not all of the rain will be able to get in. Or if it's being protected by your roof, you might not be able to collect as much rain as if it was just sitting out in your yard. Although, that would be kind of a fun experiment to do. Like put one out in the middle of nothing so that the rain can easily get to it, and have another one like under a tree or something like that, so you could see how much the tree protects you from the rain, like how much rain is blocked by the leaves of a tree. That could be a different take on an experiment, okay? And then the other thing you could do is you could make it with different shaped bottles. So the funniest thing for me with a rain gauge is that the size and shape of your container does not matter. So if you got a centimeter of rain in this container, you would also get a centimeter of rain in a container that looked like this, if they were in the same spot. You got to be careful. Or a container that looked like this. No matter what the shape or the size, you should, if they're placed in the same spot, get the same amount of rain. So we're going to try a bunch of different shaped rain gauges to see if that's really true. Like if that really is true, that a centimeter in here is the same as a centimeter in here. I'm curious. I'm really curious about that, okay? Now, what if you didn't have a clear plastic bottle? You can use anything. You could use glass and still tape it onto the glass. But what if all you have is a plastic container that looks like this? You could still use this, okay? What you would have to do instead, though, you won't be able to see on the side how much rain you're going to get. So what you're going to have to do instead is you're going to have to make your ruler, instead of on a piece of tape, you'll have to make it on like a wooden stick or wooden spoon, if you have one that your grown-up is okay with you drawing lines on. I would recommend a stick like this. Same thing, line it up with your ruler, put your markings on it, and then when you go to record the amount of rain, what you'll do is you'll dip this down to your starting line, wherever it is, and then pull it out. I want to make sure, okay, I'm going to dip it in, for example here, and pull it out, and you'll be able to see the color change on your wooden stick, okay? So you'll be able to see that came up to what number? It's backwards, I'm sorry, on the screen, that's tricky, but came up to the number 5. So that's a way to do it if you don't have anything clear at your house. If you have to use something like this, you can dip the stick in, and you should be able to see how much rain there is by the color change, okay? So you can try different sizes, different positions, track it over maybe a week or a month, or each storm, maybe make a prediction how much rain you're going to get and see if you were right. There's a lot of things you can do with a rain gauge. You could set up your own weather center at your house right now and record your findings, okay? So until next time, be well, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.